All right. Welcome to DCT.
Episode 3.
How exactly do you drown in a bathtub?
I think it's very easy. Do you really think it's hard to drown in a bathtub? It's a tub.
Excluding those that have like seizures or an epileptic episode, how do you what do you do? Fall asleep and then just drown?
Even if you're having a seizure, to help your argument, I think you would flail out of the water like a fish and you'd be totally fine. But I'm just saying that would happen. I think it's probably the easiest thing to do. I think it's easier to drown in the bathtub than it is to choke while eating. Do you disagree with that? Because that's nuts.
I'm done with this argument.
I'm not. Do you know how many times I've choked on a Triscuit? And that's like the driest cracker, except for us. It's pretty close.
I mean,
You've never choked on a Triscuit? You never choked on a cracker?
No, because I chew my food.
Well, I've seen you. You're like the worm from Dune. Are you telling me the water's never gone down the wrong pipe? You've never had that where you go...
Occasionally, but I don't drown.
Okay, but that's drowning.
What are you saying here? You're going to drink enough water in the bathtub that you'll drown?
You don't drink the bathtub.
No.
Well, I drink in the shower. I don't drink in the bathtub. I don't go in with a straw. I'm just saying, when I shower, I'll take a sip.
No.
Well, that's the difference between gamers and you. All right, continue.
Anyway, so.
I went to the Caps game.
I did. I had a great time.
Red Wings game.
Yeah.
That was a good game.
It was.
I remember you texting me. I think it was second period. You were nervous?
I was. That first period, we went down
2-0.
2-0.
Yeah, because it was Larkin with the first beautiful shot. I mean, that was behind the goal line.
Off 1 minute into the game.
Yeah, off
I was like, wow, what a way to start.
It was a good shot. And then Zeider from the point. Moritz had a nice shot with coverage in front.
Yeah, so not the best way to start out.
No, we didn't look great. Kind of flat.
Yeah, but we dominated the rest of the game.
Especially that second period. It stinks to not get something out of it. You know, at the end of the first, I think Radish scored late to kind of give us some hope.
Yeah.
But that second period, man, we had them dumping and chasing the entire time. The Caps took away the passing lanes. That's what really did it that period.
Yeah.
The Red Wings couldn't gain entry to the zone with possession, so they had to dump and chase, and they just weren't chasing. We were beating them to the pucks. Our D men were getting it out. That was, like you said, that was a really good second period. You're a child. But that third period... do you remember what I texted you?
No, I don't.
It was second period intermission, and I said, we're a third period team.
That is true.
And we're a third period team, folks.
It was
4 goals. Four goals.
That game was crazy. That's one of the only games that I thought we dominated more in the second period than the third, yet in the third period we scored
paid off.
4 goals.
Yeah.
So
we wear teams out.
Yeah.
They run 4 lines. That's the difference. We have 4 lines that we're comfortable with. So they can run them. It's great. It's really fun hockey to see. It's just electric.
It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Was that your favorite experience? Do you prefer a hockey game to a football game, to a basketball game? Because you've been to the Wizards very recently, too.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Wizards are last in that order.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to lie, walking into the Caps game, there was a line out every door. Had to wait to get in. That Wizards game, I think they were actually inviting people in. They didn't even care if you had a ticket. So...
they pay you to go.
Yeah. I will say, on average, I think I've enjoyed my hockey games more than my football games in person.
Yeah. Okay.
But I will definitely say the highest of highs so far has been my going to Jaden Daniels' Hail Mary throw against the Chicago Bears.
You were there for the Bears game.
It was awesome.
And you stayed. Were people leaving?
Yes.
People were.
I know personally people that as soon as the Bears scored that last touchdown,
just checking out.
They were like, I don't even want to watch the rest of this game. I think there were 13 seconds left.
And you're beating traffic. I respect the traffic beaters.
Yeah,
I do.
But to miss a moment like that,
dude,
I went crazy. My friend German, great guy. Probably one of the best sports moment I've ever been a part of live.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's like something you get to tell your kids about.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing play. I mean, a Hail Mary touchdown to win the game and a rookie quarterback. It's just, it's your team. It's fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen often. Some things have happened.
Oh, yeah.
There's been a lot going on with the NFL with the free agency.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about maybe ranking your 5 best free agency signings?
I would love to do that.
Who do you got for number 5?
For number 5, I actually have Justin Fields to the Jets. Now, in 2025, I didn't think I'd be talking about Justin Fields in any list.
Or the Jets.
Yeah. But I think if Justin Fields can be what he was for those first 6 games on the Steelers with the Jets, they can have success.
Okay.
You're paying your quarterback, out of all the positions, $20 million a year, which is
2 years.
Well, yeah.
Sorry,
$20 million a year. Yeah.
Over.
But to only have to pay your quarterback that much means that you can sink money into the rest of the team.
Yep.
You've got a defense that is a bunch of dogs, and all you really need to do if you're Justin Fields is worry about handing the ball off to Breece Hall, quick passes to Garrett Wilson. Alan Lazard's still there. He's still a deep threat.
Yep.
So
it's just statistical football at that point.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting the ball down the field, you're marching down the field, and you're trusting your defense.
Yeah.
I think that's an enviable position for a quarterback who's still looking to find his NFL legs.
Yeah.
To really get comfortable. I think that's the best way to do it, where you don't have to be the shining star on the team.
100%.
Now, it's New York. They're going to talk about him all the time.
Yeah.
You have a lot more press, especially with the Jets, and it's always bad press.
Yep.
But if he can get through that and just play the game, I think it's a good situation for him. And I like the deal. 2 years, I like it. There's not a lot of risk involved for the Jets.
Yeah.
Who do you got for your number 2 spot? 4.
4, jumping ahead. Number 4 spot, I got Javon Holland to the Giants.
Okay.
Last season, not a great player for the Dolphins at safety.
Injury issues.
He had injury issues late 2023, leading into 24, and he just wasn't the same player last year. But, you know, you have knee injuries that are going to affect you if you don't rehabilitate them correctly. Yeah.
And he also had the hand. There was a lot going on for him.
There was a lot going on. So, but I think this Giants defense that lost a guy like Xavier McKinney last year can really
benefit from an injection.
Exactly.
They need it.
Yeah. And honestly, I think it's very similar to the Jeremy Chin to Washington.
Change of scenery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great guy in Carolina. First couple years, he was awesome. Then he had an injury. Wasn't great the last year. Panthers let him go. We picked him up. Was one of our best players last season.
Do you think being dropped by a team can demotivate a player so much that when they do get picked up, they're all of a sudden grateful to be playing the game again? Do you think they almost have that?
Oh, 100%.
Right. I really think that can affect a player's performance.
Yeah.
If they have a team where they feel like that front office believes in them, I think they can do a lot for you.
Yeah.
And I hope that happens, because you always want to see guys succeed, but especially coming off an injury.
Yeah.
It's just a fun story.
And also, if you're giving a guy $15 million a year, it means that they believe in you.
Yeah.
So,
no, a $45 million contract that's belief.
Yeah.
Who do you got for number 3?
Number 3, I have a combination, actually. I got Cameron Bynum and Charvarius Ward to the Colts.
All right.
Yeah. I think this is great for the Colts because they had a secondary that ranked 28th, according to PFF, last year. So you've got your GM who is known for not spending money really on anything.
Yeah, he goes to the Dollar Tree.
Exactly. So if you have him and you give your cornerback and safety duo now $120 million combined dollars,
you see something there.
Exactly. So I'm excited to see what they look like. They got Anthony Richardson if he can progress. They got Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman. It's a solid offense, not great offense, but if they can have Jonathan Taylor shoulder the load, they'll be great.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's exciting. And like you said, to see a GM who is so precise with his contracts and his money and how he shells it out, to do something like this, he's got to see something. It's exciting, I think, for that fan base to say, okay, you definitely have an idea. Let's see it play out.
Yeah.
It's the best thing you can do. Who do you got for number 2?
I actually have Josh Sweat, one of your guys.
My guy.
I can't believe you love a Philadelphia Eagles player.
Sorry, Cardinal.
Now he's a Cardinal, different bird. But I think that you got Josh Sweat for $19 million a year and bringing him into that defense, which wasn't exactly great last year.
No, he's going to be leading it.
It's going to be a game changer for them. you've got an offense that can put up a lot of points. You've got James Conner running the football, Kyler throwing it to Marvin Harrison, Greg Dortch, and
Dortch the torch.
Exactly. Sorry.
God bless you.
But I think that you insert Josh Sweat into that lineup, and it immediately becomes one of the better teams in the NFC West.
He increases the caliber of your entire organization.
Yeah.
He's a great player. And he seems like a good locker room guy, too.
Mm-hmm.
But how about the contract?
Yeah.
Because I thought he was going to get more.
4 years, $79 million.
I mean, 19 a year?
76 million?
Yeah, 76.
Yeah, 76.
19 million, 20 million a year?
19 million, yeah.
19?
It's great value, honestly. I mean,
I thought he would have gotten more.
At that point, I know that you are a top 12
in your position.
At the position, yeah. But thinking that Myles Garrett got 40 mil a year, and we were talking about
which one would you prefer?
Yeah, the Commanders getting one of them. At that deal,
you would take Sweat over.
Yeah.
Okay, if you had your chance at either 19 mil for Sweat, you said it was 40 for
40,
Garrett?
Yeah. Over double.
I mean, think about what you can do. You know, it does turn into, not to moneyball it, with baseball, but it really does turn into stats and what can I get for that amount of money in that cap space. And if I can get two players for the price of one, they don't have to equal them. It's interesting. Who do you have for number one?
I actually have Drew Dahlman.
Go Bears.
Some of you may not know who that is, but he is the former Atlanta center. He got picked up by the Chicago Bears a couple days ago, and they did pay quite a bit of money for him, 3 years up to $42 million. But that's a guy who, prior to last year, because he did miss, I think, 6 or 7 games last year, he's been leading that offensive line in Atlanta with a guy like Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier running behind it. If you're Chicago and you're Ben Johnson and you're like, screw Ben Johnson, by the way.
Yeah.
Your only goal at this point is protecting Caleb Williams and making sure that he has the pieces he needs to succeed.
Yep.
So surrounding him with a line that will be better than last year, which at this rate, I think you could probably put 5 cereal boxes in there and they'd be better than that line last year. It just sets them up to succeed.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can ask for from a GM.
Yeah.
To set your guys up and give them the best shot.
Mm-hmm.
It really looks like the Bears are making good moves and moving in the right direction, especially with the coaching change. I know you're not a Ben Johnson fan, but he's a great coach. I'm excited to see him as an NFL head coach. I want to see how that works out for him.
Yeah, I can't wait to see them fail.
Yeah, hopefully they do all right.
Anyway, so
speaking of Bears,
NHL trade deadline?
Yeah, Bruins made an interesting move.
Yeah.
Getting rid of Brad Marchand, the captain of your team.
Going to the Panthers?
Going to your rival. Your new rival. Let's be honest. This isn't like a Maple Leafs, or a Habs. This is a new team that they've kind of recently been bumping heads with, but it's it feels weird. You know, he's what you consider a lifelong Bruin. He's the embodiment of what it means to be a Boston Bruin. He's mean, he's chippy, he's a heart and soul guy who can also score. I mean, I hate Brad Marchand as a player. I'm sure he's a wonderful guy. You can't stand this guy. But for them to get him for a second-round pick, it tells me that he is far more injured than what everyone thought. Because it now leaked that apparently, and this is only reported, that the Bruins offered him $3 million per year in an extension, and he said no. I don't think they would lowball their captain. I think they think that he's worth $3 million after that upper body injury, and he's a physical player.
Yeah.
So those upper body injuries, it can really prevent you from kind of turning into what you were supposed to be or getting you back to what you were. You know, when Tom Wilson had that ACL against Florida in the playoffs, it took him a year. It took him a solid year and a half to kind of get back to form. This year he's been outstanding, but there was a while where I was kind of out on Tom.
Yeah.
I was worried about his production. He looked slow. He looked different. His inside edge work didn't look as good. It looked like he was, struggling with an injury. I'm interested to see how Marchand looks. They said they won't even get to use him until the playoffs. And at that point, when do you really want to inject a new player?
Yeah.
Especially a guy like that. He can be pretty polarizing. I don't think he's going to do anything to hurt his new team. I think he's a locker room guy. He knows what veteran leadership is. He's been a leader for a very long time. It's an interesting move. I'm curious to see how it plays out. It's just Florida is such a ratty team, and instead of just the fans throwing rats on the ice, the GM's doing it too. So it's just kind of crazy.
Do you think that it leads to any tension in the locker room, considering Marchand's thought to be such a leader, and they already have so many guys like that on the team?
In hockey, I think guys have a good idea of putting away their egos for the sake of winning. They said Sam Bennett had already said, like, the first thing Marchand did when he got in the team group chat was, like, chirp the guys already. So he's making fun of them. Obviously, he feels comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great way to break the ice, you know, to just go in there and kind of be like, I know you guys don't like me, but come on, you know, let's have some fun here.
Yeah.
I'm on your team now. I genuinely, as much as I hate to say it, I think he's going to have a good time in Florida, and I think they're going to go far. That's a team, if I'm the Caps, I'm scared of in the East. I think everyone is. You know, you're on notice.
Yeah.
You know, returning Stanley Cup champions, but they didn't get worse. You know, you look at the Eagles, they got worse.
Oh, yeah. They lost 8 of their guys.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of roster turnover, and it happens to championship teams. The Panthers got better, and that's what's scary.
Yeah.
But, you know, these moves, everyone's making them. They're not the only team getting better, but it really is interesting. And then the Caps don't make a lot of moves.
No.
This trade deadline, and I love it. They get Anthony Beauvillier for a second-round pick. High price, sure, but a player's worth what you're willing to pay.
Yeah.
And obviously there were teams willing to pay that. We were. I love it. It's a depth upgrade. It puts the rest of the roster on notice. You know, they waived Vrana. He's now gone, which I am kind of happy about. Unfortunately, if we kickstarted his career again, great. Just don't want him on the team.
Yeah.
But I think Beauvillier is a great addition. He got his first goal. I think he's just a good player who's going to really help out in the playoffs with depth and scoring. I think he really ties that fourth line together.
So he's the only guy we got, correct?
That's all the Caps did.
So you think they're thinking, we're doing great this season. If it ain't broke, don't fix it?
Yes, and I think that's the first time they've done that in a very long time. People will remember Kevin Shattenkirk in 2017. That was a mistake. It was a big-name defenseman. We tried to bolster our defense by getting him, and it just didn't work. It doesn't work when you make these big moves ahead of the deadline. I think it ruins chemistry. So hats off to them for sticking with what they have. Okay. I love it. And then Mikko Rantanen. If you're Carolina, I know right now they're saying they came out on top. They didn't have to do anything, and they ended up getting 2 first-round picks and 2 thirds and Logan Stankoven. But you went from having Mikko Rantanen to the next week having to shed Mikko Rantanen because he wasn't going to re-sign with your program.
Yeah.
How do you trade for a guy like that, get rid of Natchez, and not know if he's going to re-sign with your team? It's embarrassing.
That's got to be priority.
It's a gong show. What are you doing in Carolina if your GM isn't having these conversations with other GMs? They got fleeced.
Yeah.
Colorado has a great team. They didn't lose anything by getting rid of Rantanen. They're not worse off. No. And I thought they would have been. But Carolina is in a buy-now state. That's why you get a guy like Mikko Rantanen. That's not because you're looking for the future. Mm-hmm. You want to win now. I don't think Logan Stankoven and 2 first-round picks helps you win now. So I think that was a poor management job. They didn't communicate with Rantanen enough. You end up having to sell him to Dallas. All you've done is help Dallas become a juggernaut. Yeah. I think that catapults them to Winnipeg, to that level, especially in the playoffs. Wow. You have Robertson, you have Rope Hintz, Dumba, all these guys that are just big. They play big. Yeah. That's a scary team.
So me as a casual NHL fan, not exactly a intellect of the subject, if you will.
Yeah. A connoisseur.
Exactly. Could you describe this trade to me exactly, say in like NFL or NBA terms?
I can try NFL.
Okay.
A comparable player to Rantanen would be a Joe Burrow. Not super young, but in their prime, and has good years ahead of him.
Yep.
It would be like if the Commanders traded Jaden Daniels. Maybe not Jaden Daniels. It would be like Terry.
Terry.
Okay, it would be like if they traded Terry for Joe Burrow. Okay. That's an upgrade.
Yeah.
But Terry has years on his contract, and let's say Joe Burrow was expiring that year.
Okay.
So you're in a win-now state. You're like, let's get Burrow, and let's do this. And Burrow comes to your team, and then he says, by the way, come summertime, I'm not re-signing with you. I'm going to leave after the playoffs.
Yeah. not worth it.
You would be upset. You'd be like, my team didn't do due diligence, and they didn't find out if this player wants to stick with me.
No.
So it's just embarrassing, honestly. I'm sure that locker room right now is so confused. You've had 2-star players come and go in a week. I mean, and a little bit more than a week, but it's such a fast turnaround. I'm sure that locker room is just upset at management, and just there's got to be a disconnect. And I feel bad for Rod the Bod, their coach, to have to try to tie both of those together right now. I do not envy that position. I bet it's difficult on him.
Yeah.
And that team.
100%.
Want to go back to the NFL? Maybe.
There's so much to talk about.
I mean, they have good franchises. Let's talk about some franchises that are going in the right direction, unlike the Carolina Hurricanes.
I could have spent this entire podcast talking about NFL free agency, honestly.
And I would have loved it.
I don't think you would have. I'll go over my top 5 teams in terms of how well they did in the offseason so far.
Yeah, offseason winners?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Who you got number 5?
I actually have the Broncos.
Okay.
They haven't made a ton of moves, but I feel like the ones that they have done so far have been really smart.
Yeah, good tweaks.
They are a defense-first team with a guy like Bo Nix, who is a game manager, sometimes can be quite a threat running the ball and throwing it, obviously. But you go out and you get Hufanga from the 49ers.
Yep.
He's a game wrecker. Add it to that defense, who was already top 3 in the league, I'd say.
49ers are having a rough offseason.
Yeah, they got a lot of money counting against the cap as well. Yeah. And they got to get Purdy a new contract. So,
I don't think he'll eat too much. He seems like a hometown discount guy.
They're talking like $45 million.
Never mind. Sorry. Yeah. Wow. All right.
To be fair, he's been great. And right now he makes just under $1 million a year.
So pay up. I mean, it's time.
I think $1 million in total, actually. Yeah. But then you got DJ Jones and Dre Greenlaw coming out of the team. Dre Greenlaw also from the San Francisco 49ers.
Yep.
So I think they just added a lot of key pieces to their defense. So they really just leaned into their strength.
Yeah, good adjustments.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what they look like without Javonte running the ball, but I assume they're going to take a running back like Omar Hampton in the draft this upcoming draft. But yeah, interested to see what they look like.
Yeah, definitely a team that didn't need an overhaul, and I think they made safe but upgrades for sure.
Yeah.
Who do you have for number 4?
Not to be a hometown fan or anything, but I got the Commanders at 4.
I think that's fair.
I think that they did everything that they were supposed to and a little more in the offseason. They actually did exactly what I told them to in the first episode.
Oh, my God. Why aren't you on the payroll,
That's what
Ben?
I'm saying. Adam Peters, hello.
Just hello. Hey, if you happen to watch the pod, how you doing?
But no, they kept all their guys that they really needed to. Bobby Wagner, that defensive beast and mentor for the rest of the season. Yep. Zach Ertz, like I said, Jaden's security blanket. They kept Tress Way, John Bates. These are guys that were on the team last year that were critical parts to that playoff run.
Yeah.
But then you went and got a guy like Deebo Samuel, and you went and got a guy like Laramie Tunsil. Tunsil is exactly what we need. We needed a guy that when Jaden Daniels was throwing the ball, he could sit in the pocket and just know that Tunsil was protecting him, so he didn't have to worry about getting sacked.
I know he's small and it works for him, but I get scared every time.
Oh, I had probably 5 or 6 moments last year where I was like, okay.
And that might be RG3 PTSD, who also, he was not a small body, no. but I just, the way these guys get hit sometimes.
It scares you.
It does, especially
100%.
when you have a running quarterback.
Yeah. And then the Javon Kinlaw pickup. Love that. Used to be with Adam Peters in San Francisco. Yep. Went to the Jets last year, but the Jets are a dumpster fire as always, so you're never going to thrive on them. But they did all the right things and more, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, they added the right guys, like you said, and they also shedded some much-needed weight.
Yes.
They got rid of your boy. St.
Benny Juice is gone.
My Canadian goose has flown home.
I'm so happy. Yeah. Today's been a great day.
It has, and we'll get back to Benny Juice later in today's episode. Who do you got in your number 3 spot?
Number 3, I actually have the Patriots.
Okay.
I would have had them higher. My only qualm with them is the fact that They made a lot of great signings, but I feel like the main part of their team that they really needed to improve was the offense. And the only thing they did for their offense was sign Matt Collins, who did great for Buffalo last season. It has been an underrated receiver in the NFL, in my opinion, but he's making $4 million a year. He's not going to be the needle pusher that Drake May needs in that locker room. But, I mean, they signed Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, Harold Landry, Rob Belaine. These are all guys that can make a real difference on defense.
Yeah.
And that combined with the fact that they hired Mike Vrabel, I think they're really leaning into that Patriot way where they're just going to be a defensive rock and hope that Drake May turns into the guy that they know he can be.
Yeah. And again, I think there's less risk involved in that. If you can control another team's offense, then you can kind of gamble a little bit more with your offense. You don't need to add as much. You just hope that they have a good game. If your defense can shut it down, you only need so many points.
Exactly.
Who do you have for number 2?
Much as I hate to say it, I have the Chicago Bears.
You do have the Bears. Okay.
Yes. Their main thing in this offseason was making sure that Caleb Williams got the protection he needed. They traded for Jonah Jackson, and they traded for Joe Thuney. Joe Thuney was amazing during his time in Kansas City. He did exactly what Patrick Mahomes needed him to do while he won 2 Super Bowls with him. And then they went out and got a Grady Jarrett, a Drew Dahlman, who I mentioned earlier this episode. He's going to be a difference maker for them. And then a couple guys on defense. That team got much better overnight, and I'm very interested to see what, as much as I hate him, Ben Johnson will do with Caleb Williams.
Yeah. I mean, what's that product going to look like on the field?
Exactly. You've finally got him some protection. He's not going to be scrambling around the pocket. He was, I believe, the most sacked quarterback in the NFL last year. So the fact that you can get him to actually throw the ball now rather than just run.
Well, giving him that time to think, and I mean, you're going to see the game differently.
Exactly.
You're going to have that opportunity to.
Yeah. So
it changes a lot.
We'll see why he was the number 1 pick, I guess.
Yeah. Hopefully he can definitely show off what he was projected to be when he came into this league. And it's hard to always show out when you get drafted. Yeah. You know, they show you these projections, what he's supposed to do. It doesn't matter until you play your first game. It's a different game. College ball, in every sport, in hockey, whether it's basketball, it's different than the league.
Yeah.
When you get to the pros, it's a different beast. Who do you have for number 1? I think I might have a clue.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I got the Minnesota Vikings. I feel like this is a team that has been flying low on everyone's radar. This is a team that let Sam Darnold go to the Seahawks, and I like Sam Darnold, great guy, but he collapsed last year. He was amazing for 16 games, and then that Lions game happened. It looked like he was a jet again, seeing ghosts in New York.
Do you think that's a mental game that he lost? Or do you think he might be fighting an injury?
No, I think it's a mental game 100%. You've got a guy that was criticized for not being able to live up to his potential for his first, 7 years in the NFL. Yeah. And the moment he gets a team to a 14-2 record, I think it was, he collapses against the Lions, who have an awful defense.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, we saw that in the Commanders game.
Yeah, they exposed it.
Yeah. But then you go and you realize, okay, we're going to lean with J.J. McCarthy this year. So we're going to go out. We're going to get Aaron Jones, our running back, so he has somebody to hand the ball off to consistently. We're going to go out and get Will Freeze, Ryan Kelly. These are both a center and a guard that will spend their entire time making sure J.J. McCarthy is not getting hit anymore. And then you've got Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave, both excellent defensive tackles still. So you add that to a defensive rookie of the year candidate last year, I think you're looking at possibly an improved team, and that's a team that went 14-3 last year.
Yeah, coach of the year.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it seems like there's a reoccurring theme in the teams that you have in this top list that quarterback protection really seems to be a priority for them. And it looks like it has the opportunity or the chance to really propel them. really push the needle for them and let their quarterbacks do their job, give them that opportunity to have that room to play.
Yeah.
A lot of these teams just don't have that.
I mean, you look at the Eagles last year. The reason they won the Super Bowl, they were able to both consistently get at Patrick Mahomes the entire game and protect Jalen Hurts. He was standing in that pocket forever.
He had so much composure.
When you have a line like that, you can have B-tier receivers, and you will do amazing.
And he knew he wasn't going to get touched. That's what's different.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like he was surprised, like, oh, geez, do I have to move? Do I have to shift?
No.
He felt so comfortable in his pocket. Like you said, he was setting up camp. He had a tent going, a little barbecue. It was crazy. It was really, really neat to watch. And like you said, Mahomes, I've never seen him get attacked like that.
Yeah.
Where it just felt like bees on honey. They were there all the time.
It felt like that 2020 Super Bowl when or 2021 technically Super Bowl when he was playing the Bucks. They were after him constantly. That was one of the games where everyone was like, offensive line matters.
It does.
So I don't know. It'll be great to watch all these teams this year.
It really will. It was an exciting offseason for sure, and I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
It's like you said, it's going to be neat to see these teams on the field, man. I'm excited.
Looking forward to the draft.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about it.
You ready for our final segment of the day?
Are we doing Hot Shot?
No.
Oh.
Today we've postponed Hot Shots for next week. Instead, in honor of Benny St. Juice, we haven't come up with a name for it.
He's gone.
Our Canadian friend, but we'll be taking a shot of maple syrup in honor of his departure.
Good riddance.
Yep, bye. All right. Do you want to go first or?
How about I ask you my question?
Hey, you know what? Do you want to try this? Do we want to ask each other's questions, give ourselves time to think of an answer?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Go. Hit me.
Who do you think has the highest total value on a contract in NFL history?
I love maple syrup so much. Highest total value. How do you mean?
Like the
highest annual
highest value in general. Like the highest number on a contract ever.
Highest number?
Like total earned.
Total earned dollars.
Yes.
Per year or over the course of a contract?
Over the course of their contract.
It's not Mahomes. Is it Josh Allen?
Is that your guess?
That's my guess.
Drink up.
Who was it?
Mahomes.
It was Mahomes? Yeah. It was the 400? I was confused by
that contract.
I was confused by the question.
Why?
Because I thought
said
you meant
total value.
Total value. Because Allen got 330, but he didn't sign for 8 years.
No.
How long did he sign for?
I think 5, I want to say.
5?
4 or 5.
He's getting $330 million for 5 years.
He's getting a lot.
And Mahomes got 400 for 10?
Mahomes got a total of 510 for 10.
510 for 10?
They're just stretching it out.
They're stretching it out? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll drink up. You ready for yours?
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this. Okay. This is a two-parter. 1, what goaltender was in net for the Washington Capitals in the game you attended?
Logan Thompson.
Okay. Very good. Very good. What was the final score of that game that you attended?
5-2.
Very good. And then what Washington Capitals player had 3 points that night? I wanted to share the love. It's only right we both drink that.
I know what his name starts with.
That's fantastic.
Petrus?
And I know what syrup starts with.
Is it Petrus?
Petrus? It's not a video game.
Oh.
What do you? Yeah, no, it's Protus.
I
I'll
wasn't even that far off.
No, I'll accept that. That's a valid answer.
Really?
Yeah, I'll take your shot glass. I'll take both. Do you know what's gonna? That feels like a lot more than I wanted it to be.
How about you just take that?
Just that.
I'll be nice to you this episode. I feel like I've kind of not been nice to you in
I've never
episode.
Had just syrup.
I don't think I have either.
I don't know if this is what Canadians do.
Are you a waffle guy or a pancake guy?
Pancake.
Ugh.
Really? Waffles are dry.
Waffles are great.
Waffles are great with chicken.
When you get that syrup all up in the crevasse of a waffle.
I don't want to have to insert syrup into the crevasse of my delicious breakfast pastry.
Why not?
Because with the pancake, it goes right on.
Yeah.
But I don't have to do any work.
In.
I don't want it in. Take it out, please, and don't ever do that.
Pause.
Don't do it. No, okay. I'm procrastinating.
That seems a lot better than hot shot.
I'll take another shot. I'll definitely do that again. No, wow. No, really, waffle guy.
Yeah.
That explains a lot. Are you sure you're not a waffle and a pancake guy? You seem like a 2-for-1. All right, on that fat joke, thank you all so much for tuning into episode 3. We really appreciate you guys listening. Let us know in the comments if you disagree with Ben's list, if you think that his top 5 was a good top 5, or if you think his Ben Johnson bias is coming into play. Let us know. Don't be afraid.
I think I've been very fair to Ben Johnson.
Never.
But anyways, have a great week, guys.